Bojo Kwekwe. It's Catherine here from Moonstarlodge. Welcome if you're new to our channel. Welcome back if you've been with us before. I thought over the holidays we'd take a little break from filming readings so intensively and do something a little more relaxed and joyful. And one of the things that I love to do periodically is bring forward some of the new decks I have acquired in the last few months. My deck collection, if you want to call it that, has been fairly carefully curated since 1974. I rarely bring in things that I truly regret. I can think of two decks by the same author that I truly regret at the moment, but not so much for the author's perspectives, but how the decks were crafted. But that being said, I try to bring in decks that represent a lot of different cultural perspectives on divination. So I have African, Greek, Italian, Spanish, Central American, South American, of course North American, some from Japan, from China, Buddhism and Buddhist. I have divination forms from Africa. So I'm trying to be as diverse and inclusive as I can, where I can acquire things. Even Scandinavia and Iceland are in my collection. So primarily the divination I include is cartomancy, but I do have other divination forms, and you'll see a couple of different variations today. The point of having nearly 1,500 decks is the diversity. My interest from a scholarly perspective is comparing the archetypes of a standardized system like tarot and seeing how they are represented by other cultures. So this is quite exciting, and I have worked on this, as I say, officially since 1974, and as the director of an indigenous lodge that specializes in art, art, spirituality, and education. It's also helpful to see how our own indigenous traditions on divination are returned to our consciousness and expand. So without further ado, let's have a look at some of the cards. So you will be aware of MJ Culinane's decks. She has many beyond this, but I'm focusing today on the Crow Tarot, which I think was a international award winner in around about 2016. She later published the Urban Crow Oracle, and then an expansion guidebook. This is the guidebook to the deck, I should say. And so we've got those three aspects, and I just received her Treasures from Above, a Yes-No Oracle. And again, it's dealing with the crows. And this is very different from her other decks, so I'm quite delighted by it. Those are my spazzy hands in action. So basically, this is a deck of 50 cards, and in the process, you pick a treasure and you get a yes, no, possibly, maybe. So there's a chance for 150 different options across these cards. They're very well made. They're an easy shuffle. They're a good quality deck. And I am impressed by the interesting way that she's done this. So it's almost having like a bone and curio collection. We know that corvids magpies, jays, crows, ravens, and the other in that family, love to find little shiny things, but lots of little things, and they'll collect them. If you become friendly with your local crows and ravens, they will actually begin to exchange some of these things with you. They're suspicious birds by nature, but you know, with some gentle assistance, they will begin to exchange things for you, with you for food, and it's interesting, very interesting. So the book is quite easy. There's not a lot of gibberish in here. It's well done, well crafted, and if you like having an oracle that's going to give you a quick yes or no, it's a wonderful thing. So I'm going to do sometime in 2023 a series of readings from this as a collective. Now, she does have other decks. She has the Grimalkin Tarot, which is about cats, and she has the Wise Dog Tarot and For Hoxa and a number of others, but these animal decks are wonderful. So let me bring in the next ones. I'm going to get Brian to be flipping the camera back and forth a little more with this. Now, for a long time, I had this affirmaters tarot. It's for magical guidance from the universe to help you help yourself without the self-helpiness. And I'm just trying to get the name of the author here. Well, let's see if I can get this open. So we have a guidebook, and we have a classic deck here. It's animals. It's all animals. And it's got some glossy stuff on the back of the cards, and it comes across as very kind of gentle and innocent, and that's great, not a problem. When I got this deck a couple of years back, I wasn't really that inclined to want to work with it, and this Affirmator series has a whole lot of other decks that are oracular in nature, but it changed in October when I found out from Lisa Pepez, I think it was Lisa Pepez, that the Affirmators group had put together a group of 100 cards, their most liked cards from all of their other oracle decks, and they put them together in this deluxe edition. Now this is mass market. Again, the box is the same. You've got some glossy bits on it and glossy bits on the cards, but the affirmations are quite lighthearted, well illustrated, lots of fun, and with the acquisition of this oracle, it clicked for me. Suddenly I saw myself using the deck with this oracle, not just because I like having pairs. There's a lot of decks I do have oracles to pair with them. Whether the oracle was created for the deck, they have to work together. But this particular one was created as a deluxe set, and finally this deck has a little bit more meat for me, and I find myself actually enjoying using it. So that's the Affirmators, and I never did find out the name of the author, and I will get Brian to put it in the description. Now, I've recently posted videos from Monica Budirsky. I did not bring all her decks out. Everything I have would fill this table. But she's just released through Schiffer Red Feather her Between the Worlds. It's another bone and curio divination set, but without the actual little bones and charms and stones. She has done this deck based on a curio bone collection that she has curated over a period of time. And let me just get all of these cards out. I really don't enjoy you watching me struggle. If for anything that you get this deck for, and there are quite a number of cards, and these cards represent her artwork of quite a lot of the pieces of her bone and curio casting set. I started to say, if for no other reason, if you're not that crazy about the cards, get it for the book. The book is incredibly detailed about Monica's personal journey, similar kinds of divination strategies in other cultures. I found myself sitting, the day I got it in the mail directly from Monica, because I'd ordered it from her to get a signed copy, I wanted very much to understand what this was about, and boy, did I get the answers. So this is a real knowledge-driven deck, and I love the cards, and I love doing the messages. The book is replete with ways to use these, and I'm so looking forward to more time over the holidays working with this particular bone and curio casting set. I've showed these decks before. The Black Violet Tarot by Heidi Phelps and the Blackbird Lenormand. This deck was written at a time when she was going through being a new mom and losing her mom at the same time. So she created this Black Violet deck, and there was a white edition, and that went through Kickstarter, and then she did the Black Cherry edition, and I got it. It was a Kickstarter, and so instead of black and white, it's black and pink, and she has some exquisite artwork. So I love this deck. She has a current Kickstarter that's happening, and she's reissuing the original white deck, which you'll be able to get from her website. I believe the Kickstarter has concluded. But she came out with this Blackbird Lenormand this year. And so while I await the black and white edition of the Black Violet Tarot, I just love the contrast cards here. They're simple, but they're high contrast and they're very clear. There's no questioning what the symbol is, and she happens to have the correlation with a regular deck of playing cards. There's a little book. So I love these. I love the clarity of these. My vision is declining. I have been diagnosed with congenital atrophy of the optic nerve. So things that are very vivid like this are helpful to me, and I very much enjoy that. So this is, I think, still available on her website, but you can possibly get in on the other original Black Violet Tarot that she's updating, and that's the Kickstarter. So those are new, and I really like them. Now, just recently, I got three decks in black, and I've kind of had a Johnny Cash moment here. The decks in black, all very different. And I will go through them one by one. The Wanderer's Tarot was something I found actually on Amazon, but it was on TarotTube. It was created by Casey Zabala, It comes with a fold-out card discussing meanings, so there's not really a book per se. It's a gilded deck, which is lovely, silver gilding. That might be a little bit more than silver gilding. It might be holographic. It's black and white. It's hand-drawn. I think that if you've ever been to a class of mine and you've seen some of my people on the boards when I draw them, I think we have a kinship here. There's a lot of my art style in these cards, but I like them. I like them very much. I like her ethos, and it's not just your any old Rider-Waite-Smith knockoff. It's very unique, very different, and I enjoy working with them. They're the kind, because of the way they're drawn and the way they're done, they could be worked with a Lenormand like this, or I have used them with the Reclaim Oracle, but that's the Wanderer's Tarot. All right. The next one that I just got this past week is called the Phantomwise Tarot. And because of my love of spirits, being a professional medium and working in shamanism, I thought, well, I'll take a dive and see. And this is described in the description as a deck that's got a little bit of everything, from cards that look like Alice in Wonderland to Creatures of the Night, lovely backs on them, extraordinary cardstock. This is a true linen finish cardstock, and it is one of the best cardstocks of any deck I've ever owned, and it's mass market. So here's your Alice down the looking glass. Let's just move the box, and our Magician, and our High Priestess. So it's very RWS, the Pregnant Empress. Some people like that, some people don't. Kind of a Egyptian looking emperor. The Hierophant, the Lovers, and so on. The cards are, so here's the Seven of Cups. They have the pips in them, but they're not pippish. More rabbits. So I think you'll find that this is very RWS, Rider-Waite-Smith, but it's quite updated to a different set of iconography, and it's a lot of fun. Is it the main deck I would work with most of the time? No, but it's a really wonderful deck to work with physically for me. And it's fun, and it's something, again, it's a black and white deck, good for a rainy day. This one, Tarot of the Sorceress, is quite unusual. It's a rock pool deck, and gotta get it open here. Here we go. It's called A Witch's Wheel of the Year deck by Bérengère de Moncy. Quite a complex and well done book. So again, it's a black and white deck, lots of information, there's spreads, worth the read. It too is gilt-edged. Sometimes when the cards, the way they wrap, you'll see that the deck will split, but it is what it is. So these are a glossy deck. So here's our Fool, complete with witch's hat. Reminds me a little bit of the everyday witch imagery. The Magician, High Priestess, the Empress. The Emperor is an unusual card. The Hierophant is an unusual card. The Lovers, complete with some crystals. So this is a very interesting deck from the point of view, as long as you don't like, or you don't mind nudity rather, The symbology here is challenging, and I like that. I like to understand why they are depicted the way they are. So, you know, this is not your typical strength card here. Not at all. Not your typical Hierophant card. Many of these cards have challenging images here. There's Temperance. And the Devil. The Devil doesn't look usual. The Tower. Here's the Star. The Moon is pretty typical. And the Sun. Very, very different iconography. So I haven't really done a deep dive with this deck yet, personally, because I've really only had it maybe 6 weeks. And I look forward. So it's not just black and white. There are elements of a muted gold in here. I look forward to working on this. So that was Terror of the Sorceress. And I apologize to the author if I botched their name. It was Bérengère de Moncy. This deck blew me out of the water. Got it on Amazon, written by Jenny Buey Brown, illustrated by James Brown IV, and it's the Sacred Webb Tarot Deck and Guidebook. So big box, big guidebook. This reminds me of the printing of the book for Phyllis Coulott and her tarot. The cards come out. They've got a ribbon, which I didn't get in the right place apparently last time. And it's marked as above, so below. Let us meet in the sacred center. You know, pretty good box. What I don't like is the cardstock. I think for all the effort that was put into the book and the box, the cardstock could have been better. That's the only disappointment. This deck is so phenomenal, it scares me. Whoop, there goes a deck now. Can you grab that, Brian, before it gets eaten? So, here we have cards that were recently pulled in a reading. This is the Seer. In this deck, sorry, I've got that upside down. The Seer is the equivalent to the Kings. Source is the equivalent to the Queens. We have animals here, like this is the 10 of Cups. So that's a whale. The 9 of Cups is a hippo. We have this stork or heron-like bird for the 2 of Pentacles. And here's the, what is this? This is the Tower card. It's on the back of a praying mantis. It looks like a tree being hit, and it's behind a praying mantis. Here's the Fool card. Here's the Magician card. The Judgment card. The art is exquisite. I am drawn to the author's descriptions of the cards. So let me just take one, for example. Let's take this one. So you can see the book is chunky, lots of information on taking care of the deck, and at the back of the book there's resources and more information about the symbols used and earth, air, fire, and water. So this card here, 20, as you can see, is the Awakening. Rise up in celebration Let the song within your soul take flight. You have woven your way out of the depths of the unconscious through the spiral web and have come to this moment of profound realization. It goes on to describe the card. What I like about this is the main word for this card is communion. It gives that it's the element fire in the south, the planet Pluto, tourmaline as a stone, the yoga pose, triangle pose, Trikonasana, solar plexus chakra, Ram, which is the position on, it'll come to me. A hummingbird is the bird, and a statement, released from judgment and suffering, I rise up in communion with the gathering light. So Ram is part of the Sephira, and I think that's an incredibly complex and complete description for each card. So this is the Sacred Webb Tarot and Guidebooks, and I've had this on beside me on my chair. You can flip the camera for a second. The Sephira, the Ram card, is from the Kabbalah. That's what I was trying to spit out there. I've just really taken aback by this deck, and I'm very pleased to have found it. So it's on, of all places, Amazon. Very good quality printing. So now I'm going to pull out a deck for you that I've had for a while, but I've just got the counterpart deck. Now this deck is called the Luminous Void Tarot. And I'll get you to flip the camera, Brian. The Luminous Void was, I believe, a Kickstarter or backer kit deck some years ago now, maybe 4 years ago now. And the author's name is Laura Zuspan. And Laura put this out. It's the only oval deck I own. It's all of her artwork. And she's very out there doing days of prayer and classes and collective stuff. A lot of her gathering things are free. I didn't initially gel with these watercolors. I found some of the images triggering for me. Has nothing to do with nudity or anything like that. I just found some of the figures, so I've had to work with this deck a lot. And I like it for a while, and then I say I'm saturated and I put it back. So it's nothing to do with Laura Zuspan. It's nothing to do with her interpretation. It is an RWS knockoff, and you can still get it. You don't have to worry that you can't get it. You can get it. And it's easy to shuffle. Very good cardstock. The back has a nice image. So the back makes this not reversible, though, just if that's an issue for you. It's never an issue for me. But what I enjoyed about this deck even more was something that came in just this month, and it's called the Cantigi Oracle. It's an ecological spiritual guide and creative prompt deck. Now, it was written by Ray Diamond, but the art is by Laura Zuspan. So they've co-authored this deck. So the art is the same, but it is a much more complex thing. So clearly, where Laura had this little tiny booklet, very small booklet with her tarot, this Oracle is a massive book, and I'm not anywhere near through it yet. But because it's based on the environment and the earth cycles, it's very appealing to me. So it's a round deck. Let me move this out of the way. And you get Laura's artwork here, the dark solstice sun. You don't know where you are, but you are free. That's that card. The dawn that follows the prolonged night. Primary nourishment. So for some reason, I find that these cards are better suited. The concepts of these cards are better suited to Laura's artwork, and that's only my opinion. But anyway, this is the Cantigi Oracle. So again, I have never pulled the Luminous Void Tarot out to use in a reading. For no other reason than it hasn't gelled with me. But this Cantigi Oracle totally changes the whole thing for me. So it's very similar to the first deck I brought you. I wasn't crazy about working with it, but I will now that it's, so I'm talking about the affirmaters tarot there. Once I got the deluxe version of the Oracle, it changed how I felt about it. And that's exactly the same issue here with this Cantigi Oracle. And I'll just put Laura's deck away. It's worth going to Laura Zuspan's Luminous Void website, because the information she has there is very supportive for personal growth. How are we doing for time there, sir?
32.
All right. Well, I'm going to bring you one last deck then, and we'll call this to time. This is the Yasin Guislev Tarot. It's only a majors. It was Lo Scarabeo, I think, put this out. This person, whose name I butchered, is an artist, and they've recreated the tarot majors in a very complex, very detailed way. The images to me are stark. I'm including this in my Marseille style of deck, but it's not a Marseille deck. It's simply an art deck, so it's actually on my art shelf, but it reminds me of a Marseille piece or an antique piece. It's a bit of a melange of styles, card styles. This is obviously this one artist's artistic style. If you are a collector, this deck is worth getting. If you want to study the iconography of tarot, it's worth getting. Otherwise, this is something you can pass on, if you can even still get it. I'm not sure. They were getting low when I got them. So that's just the Tarot Majors by Yasin Guislev. All right, I'm not going to get to all the decks because I don't like to have videos that are too long. I don't like watching them, and I don't like making them. So you can flip the camera, Brian. So next time we meet, I've got a Canadian tarot maker who's a healer, and the most unusual cards I've ever seen. I bring those to you when I have more time to give you an in-depth description. I might make the whole video on it because it is a very complex Chinese-based, Reiki-based deck, and I have used the tarot deck in some of my recent readings. And I will bring you some stuff by let me see. This is Cedar McLeod's book and deck, the Luminous Tarot. And I got this from her directly from her website with a hand-painted oracle that goes with it. Not as crazy about the Luminous, but we'll go through that another time. The next deck we'll do next time is the Rainbow Tarot, the Whispering Bones, the Sacred Tree for All Seasons, and the Sacred Tree for All Seasons workbook, which is obviously extensive. All right. Thank you for your time. I know I whipped through these decks, but I'm trying to get you to see as many different kinds and types as possible. And do know that I will use many of them in readings in 2023. So continue to have a blessed holiday, and we will see you on the other side, 2023. Aho.